Hey peeps, Penny from Mike's Sewing Machine Repairs with another quick 5-minute video on your mySewnet embroidery software. And today's video is going to be how to make changes to and use your grid. So your grid display inside your hoop will show you the actual embroidery stitch out area of the hoop that you are working in. We'll talk about changing hoops in another video, but whatever hoop you choose to work in, this grid indicates the embroidery area, and by default it is divided up into 1 centimetre square squares. So for example, this is a 130 by 180 hoop, which means if I count across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 centimetres that way, and that way makes 130 millimetres or 13 centimetres all the way across. But if you're not a centimetres kid and you like to work in inches, you might find this a little bit frustrating. So let's look at what we can do with our grid to make things easier for us while we're working in our software. Up to the File tab in the top left corner, left click on the File tab, and then down the left column, left click on Configure. Now that'll open up, if you have two monitors, it'll open up on another screen, and sometimes it'll be hidden under another open window. Just look for it, click it and drag it across, and we're going to look at our options across the top: mySewnet, Utilities, Appearance, Import and Export. We want to left click on Appearance. And we are going to look at a couple of things that affect our grid here. First thing is the color of the grid. So by default, your grid is a dark blue, but we're going to make it easy to see. So we're going to change it to a bright orange and then hit apply to see what that looks like. Now, you might be a bit disappointed because you can't really see what that looks like because this option box is hovering over the top of your hoop. So if we go to the top of this option box and left click and hold at the very top of the box, we can drag it out of the way, and then when I let go of my left click, the box will stay out of the way. So this yellow here is probably not a great choice for us on the blue background. Let's go ahead and make that something easy to see. Let's try a red and apply to see what it looks like. And then we can say, well, you know what? I like that red. That's what I want. If we want to keep it now, we can go ahead and say, okay. The other options that we have as far as our grid is concerned is this measurement option here. So at the moment, by default, is in millimeters. We're going to go ahead and change that to, say, inches. And we are going to hit apply. And it is telling us that when we're finished, we'll have to restart the module to reset that change. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back. So okay, and then okay to lock that in, and let's pause. Okay, so we've reset the stop software. We've opened it back up again. Now, to have a look at to change the preferences of our actual grid size, one would think that you're going to go back up and left click on File again, go down to Configure, but you would actually be wrong. We are now going to change the way that we view our grid. So we don't go into Configure anymore. We're going to go up the top to our different tabs and scoot along until we see very top right, second from the end, the View option. Left click on View. And here, our first option in our left click is, do we show the grid or not? So if we left click on Show Grid, it's gone. There it is. Gone. There it is. And then underneath it is the size of the grid. So at the moment, because the default size is 1 centimetre or 10 millimetres, it's telling us that the size of this grid is 0.394 of an inch because we just changed our settings 2 inches. What we haven't done is told the software to change the actual size of the grid to 1 square inch. So now we're going to go ahead and use the up button to change this until we get to a nice neat 1. Or if you wanted to do, you can just go ahead and highlight it and type 1. And if you want to see size 25 millimeters there, or if we wanted to do half an inch, we could do 0.5. And that's going to give us half-inch grid. So that gives us the ability to control our grid in inches. If you wanted to change the size of your grid squares in millimeters, we would go back up to File, Configure, and then drag that box back onto the screen, Penny, so everyone can see it. We're going to left click on Appearance, change our measurements back to millimeters, hit apply to lock those changes in, and it's telling us that we have to restart the software to do that. But you know what? We've circumvented the system because it's graciously done that for us already. You'll find that that restart sometimes is necessary and sometimes is not, depending on the sort of operating system that your computer is running. So up the top now, we can see that we have chosen 13mm grid for our 1/2 inch. If we'd like to take that back down to 1 centimetre, that is 10mm, or we might want to work in 2 centimetre large grid. So we can change the size of the grid like so to make it more helpful for what we're actually doing. So that's your grid preferences in our 5-minute video today. I'm out of here. Bye, peeps.